All right. It says I'm live. Good. Give it a minute to make sure everything is actually working. There we go. There we go. Great. About the chat. StreamYard. And in case anybody's wondering, yes, I'm well aware of the fact that I am a little bit early. No, we are not failure yet. We had a bit of a lag. It looks like less than 5 seconds. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Hi, Oz. Sad to say or not. Yeah, something like that. Ozzy, you sound like you've been around here a while. Sad to say. I am just joking, folks. And yes, I'm well aware of the fact that I am still technically early, like a minute and a half ish, because we all know nothing ever goes wrong around here. There is a pinned comment up on the chat. If I know you, come on in. We got to stay on topic today because I have something I got to say that I know nobody's going to like. And that's okay. Because hard truths are part of my thing. So it is what it is. Quick news update. If you haven't heard it already, this is Monday, I think. Il Duce, I mean Justin Trudeau, has announced that somehow he is going to ban handgun sales in Canada. You will no longer be able to buy, sell, transfer, import handguns in Canada. All right. I'm going to get into that. I will get into that here in a couple seconds. Hi, Bernie. Well, I sent you an email, Bernie. I know I sent you at least the email because I sent it to L3 and Ghost as well, but L3 never comes. They're working. Ghost is working, but sometimes he can sneak off for a couple of minutes. So I don't know what to tell you, bro. Physical anomalies. Squatch, you're trying to be intellectual again, and it's not working, but it is confusing me, and that makes me mad, and you know not to make me mad. All right, it is actually time. So I'm going to bring the chat up on deck where I can see it because I forgot to bring my glasses again. The fuck is wrong with me? All right. So I'm particularly mad about something. I want to make sure I'm going to get this right. Okay, good. Excellent. Those of you that caught the Tuesday afternoon live stream, including especially Squatch, who was there, you know I was mad. I dropped an N-bomb. That was me having calmed down over the course of about 4 or 5 hours over what it was that set me off. All right. What it specifically was that set me off was something I didn't actually talk about during the stream, and it's a good thing. Because there's something going on. And even as I was reading it, I said, this can't be right. And yet it's everybody's saying the exact same thing. They can't all be lying to me, right? Unless they are. Unless literally everybody is lying at the exact same time about the exact same thing. Well, hold up. It's only a lie if you know it's not true. If you have spent your entire life being told that Saturday is the first day of the week, or Monday, and that is true in Hispanic culture, which those of you that know Carrie behind the curtain, you know that I got a lot of Hispanic culture in my family history. Okay. So when I was in first grade, and my instructor, Mrs. Boyle, says, "What is the first day of the week?" I said Saturday. And everybody laughed at me except her. She said, no, in certain cultures, Saturday is the first day of the week. But in our culture, it's Sunday. Oh, okay. Right? I had spent my entire life until then thinking Saturday was the first day of the week. I corrected myself insofar as that goes. Because now I understood differently, right? It's only a lie if you know it's not true, or if you have a real good reason to believe it's not true and choose not to look. All right. I didn't have a reason to believe it's not true. So I accepted it as the truth. Now I know maybe it's not even true. Maybe neither is true. Maybe Monday is the first day of the week. I'm sure there's a culture out there that treats Monday as the first day of the week. And maybe they have a legitimate case. After all, on the seventh day, the Lord rested, right? I'm glad on Tuesday I didn't spurg out on the detail, the very specific thing that set me off so badly. Because yesterday, Mike the Cop announced on his Discord that him and Tansy are going live today at noon. What does noon mean? There's like 12 time zones. It could be 12 different noons, guys. Might get around to ranting about that in the future. But in the meantime, today at noon, and I know Mike lives in Michigan, so I'm going to assume Michigan time, which would be about 2 hours from now. Him and Tansy are going to go live about the lies and truth and lies about Uvlade. Mike has a really, really good reputation. I say this very honestly for telling the truth. His reputation for telling the truth is better than my own, and it's earned. Mike will tell you the absolutely hardest possible truths. He's gone after cops. He's gone after himself a couple times. All right. He does sometimes discuss those things behind closed doors, and I'm not behind those doors. But you hear or see when he's saying things that, yeah, okay, you had some sort of discussion. Maybe it was Tansy, maybe it was underpaid producer, maybe it was Jen, maybe it was your wife, maybe it was your former chief. You had some sort of discussion behind closed doors, and you know something the rest of us don't. Okay, I get that. And you're telling the truth based on the full facts, some of which you don't want to talk about publicly. Okay, that's fine. The only person here who I actually know nothing about is Cheese and Burnaby. Bernie, I'm going to pick on you for a second. The only thing about Bernie I know is his name. Do you realize, Bernie, I don't even know what country you come from? It's only an absolute assumption that you're a U.S. citizen or that you live in the U.S. or both. Actually, both. That's it. He's never actually said, I live in Texas and I'm a dual citizen and. He's never said any of that. The closest to knowing where he comes from that I can get is the fact that we found each other through L3. They're from Florida. And I think he's made a couple of comments about Florida's governor, but these were the sort of things that I have heard living in Nevada. So it's not, I don't know anything useful. Hi, Cheese. Okay. Day do you count from? Okay, Ozzy asked a question, which day do you count from? Hebrew calendar starts Saturday, hence their Sabbath is the Seventh-day Adventists follow that tradition. See? I'm going to highlight that one. Right, there it is, guys. Which day do you count from? It's one of the things big beefs I have with Seventh-day Adventists. Oh, you're a Satanist because you don't celebrate on the Friday now. Under that category of telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. No, it's only a few of the Adventists that I've ever dealt with that were like that. But the ones that are like that are really like that. Hi, Troll. Okay, Bernie has corrected me. He says he is from Texas. I actually pulled that shit right out of my ass, folks. It wasn't even a guess. I literally just decided to pick on Texas for a second. Maybe hitting the moonshine too hard and he forgot. I have no idea what you're talking about there, Ozzy, but I do have a little bit of a hangover from mead and cherry Coke last night, so maybe that's what he's talking about. God, I love mead. But I only like it if it's mixed with something. All right. All right, so let's get into it. First of all, I want to encourage everybody, beg you. All right, I can't order you. I can say I'll be very angry and cross and upset with you. And that's the most I can do. If you don't go check out Mike's stream on Uvlade, it's going to be on one of his channels. I don't know which one. He's got 3 of them that I know of. Probably failure to stop. Probably failure to stop. In about 2 hours, I know 99% of you out there are watching this in rerun anyway, so it's probably too late for you to catch it live. And those of you that are here, at least half of you aren't going to be able to drop anything. You've already dropped everything you could to be here today, and I appreciate that. You're not going to be able to drop anything to go watch Mike live. Okay, that is what it is. I understand that. Go watch it in rerun. That's the way I'm going to have to do it too. It is what it is. You want to start hearing the truth and not the bullshit that people are telling you. All right. Actually, I can't talk about this one. All right. I can't talk about this one. In the teaser, Mike specifically says something about how the 45-minute story is not true. Now, if we're talking about a difference of 5 minutes, then yeah, that's true enough. It took them 45 minutes. All right, then it took them 40 minutes. Well, that's not a difference, right? But if we're talking about a difference of 40 minutes, yeah, that makes a difference. If the little son of a bitch went from his car into the building from the time he got out of his car to the time the cops opened fire on him was a difference of 5 minutes. All right. That's not a difference without a distinction without a difference. That's a real fucking problem. Telling me it took them 45 minutes to respond when it took them 5 minutes. You know, it's a good thing I sleep with my brass knuckles on rather than walk around town with them on. Somebody tells me that, if this has happened before, I'm fucking gonna hit you. All right? Don't lie to me like that. I don't like it. On the other hand, like I said, and again, since I beat up on it so hard, I'm going to beat up on the other side. If we're talking about a difference of 5 minutes, yeah, that is a distinction without a difference. That's an accounting error. That's a rounding error. That's everybody set their watches at 0800 this morning, and one guy's battery was low, and another guy's watch is slow. The other guy, his watch is fast. That's how you get that 5 minute difference. That's why when it comes to police reports and military reports, they do allow a 5 minute error. All right. That 5 minutes is a huge, huge, huge difference when you're talking about space shuttle launches. When you're talking about a firefight involving who knows how many people, no, actually, the 5 minutes is not that different. There was once upon a time when a full day with roughly morning or afternoon was an acceptable error, margin of error for timekeeping. That was pre-Civil War, but there was a time when that was the difference. Hey, Bernie, I got a feeling that Mike is going to be addressing that lockdown question as well. There's some things, yeah, fuck it. Because I didn't hear it from Mike, I heard it from somebody else. Apparently the door in question was unlocked at one point, but was locked or closed by the time this kid showed up. All right. Now, I'm going to give some benefit of the doubt. Not everything you're hearing is somebody who lied to you. A lot of them is somebody who made a mistake or a misunderstanding. They heard about the door being open. They assumed the door being open had something to do with the shooting. They reported it. Assumptions kill too. Don't assume. Do not assume anything. Okay. So I'm literally, guys, I am begging you. Live, rerun, I don't care. If you watch it in a rerun, you can watch it at 2 times speed. Just saying. Although my experience is 1.5 times speed is easier to follow. And the difference only piles up when you get into those 2-hour streams. Go check that out and start to find out how many things you've been told that you weren't told the truth. I'm also noticing something that's pissing me off. Who went to school when windows were air conditioned? Actually, I did when I was in until about 6th grade, I think. That's when they finally got air conditioning in my school. Anyway, moving right along. Where was I? The danger of the lies in particular. All right. You make a mistake. I can forgive a mistake 1,000,000 times as long as you don't make it again. A lie, you're telling me something you know is not true, and I'm making real decisions based on what you told me that you knew was not true. There are people down in Texas who want to kill cops right now because they got lied to. And they're believing these lies. Do you see where this danger starts to build up? Right? I enlisted in the military because I wanted to go to Serbia. And I wanted to go to Yugoslavia and kill a Serb. Most of y'all don't know this. I didn't even fucking know this till about 2 weeks ago, 3 maybe. That whole conflict started over one thing: an accusation by a Serb that some Bosnians came to his farm, shoved a bottle up his ass, and broke it. Okay. I'm going to stop it right there. That was the accusation. I don't know what really happened. Nobody knows what really happened because the accusation is the pro-Bosnian cops forced him to recant his accusation, but then he turned around and made it a second time. Okay. What's the truth? We don't even fucking know what's the truth. We will never know what the real truth is. And a lot of people died. A lot of fucking people died over somebody's lie. And I straight up say this the way it is. I don't know if it's the Serbian. I don't know if it's the Bosnians. I don't know if it was a third fucking party that told the lie, because Serbian nationalists were definitely part of this story. Don't believe me. I don't give a fuck. It's up on Count Dankula's channel under the Mad Lads series. And he even says at one point he doesn't know whose lie. Only somebody's. Oh, that's gotta suck, guys. Okay. Actually, thank you, Bernie, for reminding me of this. Make sure okay, show that one. Schools around here all have tall walls and small windows high up since they started having computers in the classrooms before school shootings started. Hide that. All right. It is not even a secret that my side gig is HLS Security Services. HLS started just before, I think just before Sandy Hook. Right? Me and my then wife, I was having some trouble getting a job. This is the truth. Right? The Oregon economy at the time was a wet, hot pile of dog shit. The sawmill that was literally like 2 blocks down closed about 6 months before we got married. There was a electronics factory in town that closed 2 years earlier. Businesses were closing everywhere. I turned to my wife and I said, I got a lot of experience in the security industry. I'm thinking about starting a business. She says, doing what? Security consulting. The usual things: install an alarm, get better locks, blah, 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 blah. We both agreed at the end of the day that this was just a paid hobby. Okay, fine. Sandy Hook come along. And as HLS, I actually sat down and wrote out what I would have done to get that school ready for a shooting or for anything else that might happen. For reasons that I don't quite understand, that post is not there anymore. I even had a drawing to show that, yes, you actually do have to direct this kind of traffic that kind of way, and why you have to direct it that kind of way. I even put on the drawing a subordinate drawing, an inset, how the lines on the passageway decks had to be set up so as to make sure that traffic would keep moving freely. Ooh, would also get these kids used to the idea of moving in traffic when they had a driver's license. Just saying. But anyway, I'm actually going to go back and start that project all over again, I guess. But the first thing you do is set it up so the only way you're getting into the school, you might get into the parking lot. Okay, fine. You might get into the parking lot. The only way you're getting into the school itself, unless school staff let you in, is to drive through the gates. And even then, you're not driving through those gates, right? It's nothing less than an 18-wheeler will get through those gates. And that's the sort of person who they not expecting to go home ever again. What I'm also going to say about that, though, that project was in the context of HLS, not mandatory carry. HLS does not talk about guns and weapons any more than is absolutely necessary to complete the project, right? As mandatory carry, I'm telling you, fuck you, arm all the staff. And any staff member who cannot be armed, there is something in their history that says you shouldn't be around kids anyways, right? I remember the Michelle Montoya murder from Sacramento. Michelle Montoya was a senior at, I think it was Franklin High School. So Franklin High School? I could be mistaken here. One day, she just disappeared that fast. Literally, there were people that saw her, they say, turn a corner, and then they never saw her again. And nobody knew what had happened to her for 2 days until they found her body. She was very dead, and I'm not going to talk about the condition they found her body in. They started investigating the murder, and they found that a janitor was a convicted felon with a long history of violence. What in the fuck was he doing at that school? What in the fuck was he even doing out of prison at this point? Nobody has ever actually given an answer to this question. But we've been getting we got a lot of excuses. I remember this is before I'm mandatory carry, after A school, but before mandatory carry. I'm wondering, what the fuck is this guy doing out of prison? Like, you put a wolf in the sheep's pen. Did you not know he was a wolf? Well, apparently they didn't know he was a wolf yet. Flag on the play. Bullshit. You can do an instant background check with just a thumbprint to verify that, yes, this is the person you're talking about. So this story that they didn't know yet, and they were waiting for his background to come back, total bullshit. Absolute, complete bullshit. But whatever. People like that shouldn't even be in working in a school. Okay. But if it's not somebody with a history that says, no, you shouldn't be working at a school, or no, you shouldn't have a gun, What the fuck are you doing working in a school to begin with? Even if your history is non-violent crimes like petty theft or car theft or embezzlement, big scale embezzlement, maybe. You think schools don't have cash available? You think schools don't have bank accounts that can be siphoned off from? Oh, yeah, they do. It happens every year. Somebody is fired from a school district, and then they have to find a replacement, and they have to turn to the state legislature and say, we need $500,000. What do you need $500,000 for? Well, you see, the money's gone. It got stolen by the vice principal or by the president of the PTA. That's an actual story. How the president of the PTA had access to the school's money, I don't know. But he did, or she did. I don't. This is the late 90s, so bear with me here. Or whatever. Well, why didn't you prosecute him? Because we're trying to keep it quiet. Okay. So yeah, arm all of the school staff, and if it takes 3 days to process somebody to become a school employee, wait 3 days. Fine, fuck it. I'll give you that excuse just to make it easy on myself to not have to fight somebody who's lying to me. I'll make it easy on myself. You get 3 days to find out who they are, and then they can start working. King Pharaoh. 3. Okay, Ozzy said something, and I obviously missed a detail. So, and I'm not finding it now. So, sorry, Ozzy, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Ozzy wants to know: do we hold a grudge against the Serbs for World War One? One of theirs shot the Archduke. You know what? World War One, it's done. It's over with. I don't even want to deal. All right. And by the way, no, because they all had a bit to play in that story. What happened in the 90s is a very different story. Very, very different story. All right. So, yeah, World War One, everybody fucking started that shit, including Japan. Japan only entered World War One on the side of the Allies as an excuse to capture, occupy one particular city that happened to have a German brewery in it. Well, okay, if we enter in on the Ally side, then we can go conquer this city, and they'll thank us for it. So let's enter in on the Allies. If that city had been an American alliance city, they would have entered in on the German side. Okay. Oh, my school was weird. Big windows that didn't open and small square ones that did below them. The wall-mounted heaters on painted cylinder walls. Yeah, that's actually a common design of the 70s. And I'm not sure if that's the common thing now or not. Yeah, and Ozzy's talking about how June sucked in school. It was built in 81, so yeah. Ozzy is telling me to go check out Sydney's Instagram account. Is this going to set my PTSD off? Putting orphans down with known predators in Oz I'm okay. Oh. 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 My PTSD's triggered. Don't worry, Oz. I'm not going to hold it against you. Okay. I believe you, Ozzy. And I don't want to talk about that right now. Because I'll fucking full on carry again. Maybe a little bit worse than usual. Moving right along. What happened Tuesday, I heard one thing that set me off. And now it's starting to come out. And maybe that's not the whole story. And that's a big part of it. Right? Somebody took one little bit of a story, blew it way, way out past what really was, and tried to say that this is the whole story. Yo, fuck you all. The thing that set me off is her parents are getting pepper sprayed by cops to prevent them from going into the school to find their kids or to find out what's going on. Okay, that's a level of force to stop people from responding, and especially when it's their own kids. Meanwhile, a cop had gone into the school and gotten his kid when the shooting started. That two bits put together the way it was, and it was put together that way. Something in the back of my mind tripped. Wait a second. Something about this story just isn't adding up. And I'm glad I kept my mouth shut on Tuesday, because I'm beginning to wonder if somebody didn't pass along a flat out fucking lie. This is up there with some of the really weird coronavirus bullshit, like the Corona is 5G shit. Yeah, I said that. I've been saying that since June or July 2020. Right? I knew that was a lie back then. I didn't even need to be told. Now here we are over a year, almost 2 years later. I'm still telling you it's not 5G, and I don't know what the fuck those people's malfunctions are. But what they did was they took the fact that there was no reported cases in regions with no 5G, or very, very few in regions with no 5G, and said, see, this proves coronavirus is just 5G. No, bullshit. Fuck you. Right? What it proves, and Papa Carey said this best. What it proves is that the people who live in 5G regions are either extremely isolated or are not reporting. That extremely isolated part. That's the thing he said that was so perfect. That we're never going to hear how those regions went. Or if we do, it's going to be 20 fucking years from now in in some sort of investigation into why is there a mass grave in some village and fill in the blank country that you probably can't even find on a map or a globe or something else. Yeah, well, they all died of coronavirus, but nobody heard about it at the time because nobody reported it. And now this connection of parents getting pepper sprayed while cops are rescuing their kids, striking me as the same kind of lie. I don't want to talk about Ukraine. And Ozzy's bringing up the question about the cops. We're going to find out, aren't we? I wish I could make it to Mike's stream live. I won't. That's not going to happen. I got to get over it and accept it for what it is. Mike actually put this very bluntly. And let me see. I know I took a screenshot of this. And okay, let me try it this way because I think I know what I did wrong. Oh, damn, wrong one. Okay. Well, shit, I'm going to share this one anyway. Stop screen. Share. Like I said, Mike's reputation for integrity or honesty is even better than mine. And I'm the one that said it, so fuck you. It must be true. The lie that cops stood around and did nothing needs to end. Every so-called conservative influencer who perpetuated this lie for clicks should be ashamed of themselves. You know what? He's right, and I am. I should not have repeated something like a Polly looking for a fucking cracker until I knew what had actually happened. The only defense I can give is at least I kept focused on things that I could actually stand behind and knew I would be able to stand behind later. Okay, that's going to be later. All right, well, Bernie says, cop-splaining will only dig a deeper grave. You know what? There's a lot of truth to that. But first, we've got to find out what really happened. No bullshit, no lies. Just what really fucking happened. All right? This story about people being pepper sprayed, you know what? If that actually did happen the way it's being told, that parents were being pepper sprayed while bullets were still going off, and I don't mean the cops' bullets, yeah, that needs to be addressed the way it really is. All right? And if that is an actual total lie, and the shooting had been over for 30 minutes at this point, and they're trying to evacuate the wounded, the still alive in there, they need to address that the way it really is too. Yeah. Ozzy's pointing out causation versus correlation. And it's actually not exactly a coincidence. It's a 2 + 2 versus 2 × 2. They both equal 4, so obviously it's 2 × 2. No. They both ended up at the same point, but they started, and they both started at the same point, but they started at another point. 2 + 2 is also 1 + 1 + 2. More to the point, the rural areas and the lesser developed areas where 5G isn't are also the areas where the virus doesn't spread so well for the exact same reason. Poor regions where people don't move around a lot, and sometimes they don't leave their village their entire life except to go out to their fields. And there's no money to be made there by internet and cell phone companies. So they're not going to go in there. Same reason nobody leaves is the reason why nobody goes in. No money. Okay. I got to call out Ozzy a little bit. Ozzy says, I know police are a mix of good and bad actors. You know what? You find any subculture. I don't care. Goth, crossdresser, BDSM. I met that guy. Internet personality, politician, cop, firefighter, paramedic, military, clergy, sanitation worker, sewage worker, any of them. You will find good and bad actors. You will find saints and sinners. There was a guy that joined the Coast Guard, of all things, specifically because he wanted to get his hands onto an M16. It's to steal an M16. He realized he couldn't steal a whole M16, but he could steal a trigger group. Only he got caught. He should be coming out of prison sometime next year. That's a thing. There are people that join the military because the only thing they want to do is kill somebody. Although I was a little bit more specific than somebody. The character of John Cusack's character from Grosse Point Blank. Right, he's sitting in his tux before senior prom, just before senior prom, I think it is. And he realizes the only thing in this world he wanted to do was go kill somebody. So he ran off and joined the army. And then he became an assassin. Okay. No, that's an actual thing. Papa Carey once processed a set of fingerprints for somebody, his wife of like 60 years at this point, wanted to start a daycare center. He was going to be in the daycare center, so he had to be processed. He had a criminal conviction from the 1940s for bank robbery. This is in the very late 90s or early 2000s, right? Dad calls the guy up and says, what's the story with this? And he said, I was young, I was stupid, and I had just gotten out of, I can't remember if Dad said it, the guy said he was in the Marines or the Army, and I thought it was a good idea. And it turned out it was a real bad idea. And I did my time, and that was 40, 50, whatever years ago. Okay. Well, I've been a model citizen ever since. Sometimes that's the way it happens. All right. There's at least one bank robbery gang, and that's what they did. They robbed banks. Their founder had joined the Marines to become a better bank robber. He knew before he went in that when he got out, he was going to go rob banks. When they finally caught him, he even said, that basically he made a borderline aspersion that this was a cult, and that and that's what the cult did. So pick any subculture. Go ahead. I'm sure if you name one, I can find somebody. Hell, don't say school staff. There was a school instructor who was arrested. Was it Monday? Well, I think I heard about it Monday for sending highly inappropriate personal information, including photographs, to a 16-year-old student, not one of her own students. Okay, fine. It's still not appropriate because, quote, I heard you liked me. Oh, no, lady, you don't understand. That's not how it works. All right? She's been charged with giving pornographic material to a minor, and she's actually guilty. Well, like on the play. Assuming everything that was reported, is true, she's actually guilty. 16-year-old, 26-year-old. Just saying. So don't say school staff. Forget about the Montoya case. That was almost 20 years ago. Let's talk about the current case. No sign of this kind of behavior in her past, and she does it anyways. I know I rant about this all the fucking time. Never fucking lie to me. I've actually got a clip for this, but I don't want to be bothered right now. Because every time you lie to me, it makes me know what kind of person you really are. You're going to lie to me about that. It's not okay. Oh, yeah, it's one. Because I saw his name first. I'm going to pick on Ozzy here for a second. I know Ozzy is a Canadian, right? Let's just pretend for a second that he's actually an Australian, but he's been lying to everybody and says, I'm a Canadian, right? I haven't exactly been particularly detailed on the facts of my personal life either. Tell you all I live in Reno. No, that's not exactly right. It's the right county. But no, Reno's, I'm kind of like 20 minutes outside of Reno on foot, which is the way I usually go. Like 2 seconds away in a car, which does happen. But anyway, let's say Ozzy's been telling the world, I'm Australian, even though he lives in Canada. Okay, that's a ruse. I get it. You also don't give people your home address over the internet, right? Ironically enough, Count Daetslov did that story too as another mad lad. Dragon Lord, I think is what he called himself. And he put his home address, and all kinds of hell broke loose after that. He was getting trolled in real life by people showing up at his door and harassing the shit out of him because he got mad one day. Don't do that. Never get that mad. Okay. Larry Lawton is actually a name I know. I've never met the man, but I've heard a lot about him. Some of it on YouTube because he was interviewed. Service. Really? He was a coastie. Still involved in the mob. Interesting. In the 80s, he was probably M1 carbine, M2 carbine era Coast Guard too. Still running around with Navy hand-me-down boats instead of something designed actually for Coast Guard utility. Took whatever Congress let us have and did whatever modifications were necessary to make it just at least basically serviceable. And then, of course, there's your IP address, but we'll move on past that for a moment. All right. It's also something else to lie about somebody else. There's a particular individual. I lie every single time I talk about her. All right. And I can't keep my story straight. And that's kind of the point. All right. I know something that I'm not comfortable discussing. And every time the question comes up, I tell a different lie. But I always know the one thing. I know what the truth is. So I never say that. Ouch. That's okay. That's not insignificant. But moving right along, every time you tell a lie, you make the problem worse. Remember last week during the live stream, I said something about a linear equation, exponential linear equation. Those lies are part of that exponent. Every lie you tell changes that exponent, makes it a little bit bigger. The worst part is the lies. Once they're out, you can't bring the exponent back down. It's stuck. You tell me that banning guns will stop bad things from happening. I know that's a lie. You add to that lie things like an assault weapon was used in this or that mass shooting, but no, it wasn't an assault weapon. It's a semi-auto. All right. Well-meaning people, some of them, are repeating that lie, not because they know the truth, but specifically because they don't know the truth. They just keep repeating that legal definition. Well, I can change the way that law is written. I can change that legal definition anytime I want, up to and including a ham sandwich. And to underscore that point, back around 2014 or 15, I actually wrote a definition for assault weapon that would cover a musket. I'm not joking. This took me about 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours of sitting there thinking, how do I do this? How do I do that? I do remember that to shortcut a couple of related problems, I had to write it with a time frame. It had to be a long enough time frame that I could get something else out of it. I remember it ended up being within a minute. It's not how it works. I know that episode, Ozzy. I really do. Especially the lies. That was a story about drug addiction, by the way, Ozzy. Carrie knows. All right, moving right on. Sorry, guys. I'm not ignoring, but I am looking. Okay. I've been on this for an hour. For God's sakes, do not, under any circumstances, until you really know what's going on. And if we have to get this to the point where courtroom proceedings have closed, then let's do exactly that, I guess. Do not pass along anything if you have any reason at all to wonder if it's true. You are not 100% sure that this story is true because you've seen the evidence. Don't pass anything else along. about Uvlade or Tops or someplace else. You can pass the story about the shooter talking to the black guy because you've seen that interview. Or if you haven't, go over to Coleon Noir's channel. He's got the clip. Go ahead and talk about that. And if that guy is mistaken or lying, it's on him. Take it up with him. It's not on you. Anything else to do with that, you probably want to back away from, because at this point, I can't believe anything anyone said. It's as simple as that. Okay. Switching over so I can see myself. And I'm changing the formats. All right, let's make sure. Yeah, good enough. Now this week, for Daetslov Act, I'm going to be talking about exemptions, but I want to throw something else at you first. There we go. Under Daetslov Act, this one would actually be banned in public. This is a 10-round clip for an AR-15 or any AR-15 clip compatible weapon. Why is this banned and this 30-rounder perfectly legal? First of all, it's not, because 30 is perfectly legal. It's 11 or more. Second of all, and I can't touch that thing while I'm live streaming or Apple goes fucking ballistic. This will fit in the gun in the lowest possible profile. All right. This is a concealment clip. It's a concealment mag. I don't give a fuck what you say. This is so that the gun will be as small as possible so you can conceal it. Put an 8-inch barrel on that thing. Take the big heavy stock off. My big heavy stock off. Put a smaller stock on, or just go stockless, and shoulder the buffer tube. Just straight shoulder the buffer tube, and now you have a highly concealable semi-automatic rifle. Okay, didn't miss anything important here. And I do kind of know how to do it. I could convert that thing to an assault weapon. And now I have a highly concealable assault weapon. That is why these are banned in general under Daetslov. All right. I was thought about it this morning as I was getting set up. I had this one set up for something else, but I can't do it. It's a thing about optics. I don't like optics. Yeah, it's oversimplification, but yeah. I have to borrow something from Dad to do that project. But in the meantime, as part of that project, I had it up on a bench. My real mag wouldn't fit in the gun, and on the shooter bench, armorer's bench, excuse me. So I popped it out, popped the 10 in. 10s for long arms are only legal for maintenance and repair, storage, and sanctioned events. And the sanctioned events cop out, and it really is just a cop out. I would have taken out anyways. You go to you've got a 15 round mag, and that's all you can legally have. Well, then the event sponsors will have to make 15 round mags part of the event. Well, okay, not everybody wants to get on the board with this very simple concept. Okay, fine. Put 5 dummy rounds in. Well, there's always going to be somebody who cheats. Oh, all right. Sanctioned events only. I would actually raise that much higher, but I didn't want to fight with Brent, of all people, about this. Okay, fuck it. Let's just simplify it. Sanctioned events. That is where I went. You can have it for maintenance and repair, because I understand the maintenance and repair necessity. You don't need a 50 round clip to do some basic repairs. You just need one in there so it can go and cycle and see what's going on. Maybe 2. 10? No. It would actually be a 5 round maintenance and repair clip and nothing more. But 10s are out there. And it's easier to just go ahead and grandfather them all in right away than to try to make them buy back or have them stenciled with a date, or how do we keep track of it? It just wasn't worth the trouble. Okay. Bernie is about to get a lesson. I say clip to piss off Spurgs. A little bit of history behind that. Back before I got my twatter death row, I said clip because I was trying to communicate in terms that I knew common people understood. It is as simple as that. And Dale Dyer has a very interesting interview about his work on the film Platoon, and I think it was actually, ironically enough, Johnny Depp that he was talking to at the time, where communication breakdown about clip versus magazine arose. Go check that out. So I was trying to communicate in terms that common people understood. I said clip, and this worthless piece of fucking mom's demand action plant, that's apparently been proven since then, jumped my shit about, you said clip when you mean magazine, that proves you're not a real Second Amendment advocate. Fuck are you talking about, bruh? The same guy who thinks you should be required to leave your house armed is not a real Second Amendment advocate. We know who the fake here is now, don't we? I didn't know you could block people at this point on Twitter, although I should have realized that. And that led to a huge ass fight. And I don't even apologize. All right. Could have been... Time Travelers. Nice. No, from the grassy knoll by the Time Travelers. Don't you know? Hey, Rob. Rob, please, for God's sakes, don't ever spurg out about clip versus magazine. Don't make me rant at you. Okay. Moving right along. Where was I? That was the rant about my 10 round clips and why I say clips as opposed to magazines. And you can bite me if you don't like it. I'm going to stop the screen and get into the subject of Daetslov for this week. Window. Nope, that's Mike's rant. Okay, here we go. First of all, make sure it's actually there. Second of all, make sure it's readable for you guys. Oop, wrong window. Now I can start. Okay, section 6, restrictions. We all understand that some people should not be required or in some cases allowed to carry. This is a continuation. What can the Fed step in and say? No. Federal government may only restrict suppressors, silencers. Stop right there. Suppressor and silencer is a beautiful example of clip magazine debates. The actual patent filing says silencer. I know this, and like 99% of you out there have seen it demonstrated. This piece of equipment that makes your gun a little bit quieter or quieter does not make it silent. It will still make noise. The best suppressed weapon, silenced weapon, whatever you want to call it, that I've ever heard of, the well rod and the well rod's successor, are still noisy enough that you can hear them on a very active gun range. That was demonstrated out of Sweden, I think. It was a military range, so they're not going to shut everything down just so that they can show the public how this gun works, and you could still hear it over the noise of the entire fucking range firing the whole time. To short circuit the fight, I made it both suppressor and silencer at the same time. Assault weapons. Assault weapons is based on that definition from Title I definitions. Detachable magazine-fed automatic and or burst fire weapons. Machine guns. From Title I, machine gun, any continuous feed mechanism. Auto cannons, rotary cannons, AOWs, and explosives, incendiaries, other than tracer, and armor penetrator munitions as follows. Okay, all of these are also included in there. 1. Weapons included in these definitions may require a license to possess not to exceed. Okay, so you're going to have to go in somewhere and or put in some sort of paperwork that says, my name is Mandatory Carry, and I would like to have an M16 and an M240. And I want to put a selector fire kit on my Glock. A single-page form establishing who the applicant and or designated representative is and where the weapons will be stored. In other words, who has them and where are they? A form for each transfer establishing who is receiving said weapons. In other words, who has them and where are they? A fee not to exceed actual cost to government for processing. That's a little bit of a nebulous thing. The actual cost for processing is going to change from year to year. The states may impose or mandate no restrictions, fees, or other controls not specifically provided for within this act. All right. The states have nothing that they can do except what I'm about to discuss. They can't change the definitions. They can't change the regulations. The states abused their authority in the past. Why should I not take it away now? States may impose reasonable regulations on the licensure for concealed carry and must accept concealed carry permits from the sister states without exception. Okay, the state can say, to get a concealed carry permit here in Nevada, you have to go through these steps. To get a concealed carry permit in California, you have to go through these steps. To get a concealed carry permit in Montana, You have to go to the county sheriff, fill out a piece of paper with your name and home address and $20 bill. I think it's Montana. And in Arizona, to get a concealed carry permit, you have to get a concealed carry holster or something, and that's it. Good to go. And must accept concealed carry permits from the sister states without exception. I have my concealed carry permit from Nevada. I go into California. California right now says, no, this is not valid in our state. I go up into Oregon and Washington. No, this isn't valid here. All right. That's over. And that specific section there is the Shaheen Allen clause. It's been almost 10 years since she was arrested on the New Jersey Turnpike, I think it was, with her New York concealed carry permits, traveling through New Jersey with apparently an intention to get to the other end, which I'm not sure what the other end was, when she was stopped by a highway patrolman and arrested and spent 6 months in jail. She lost her job. She lost her home. And she was on her way to a New Jersey prison when Governor Christie stepped in and said, no, you're not. This thing is over, Mr. DA. Walk away or else. Well, not even or else at this point. We're past the or else point. And he granted a governor's pardon. I believe it's pardon. And basically, as far as the state of New Jersey is concerned, this thing never even happened. Well, that's good. That's great. Right? Not good enough. It's just not good enough. Okay, said requirements may not include a mandate for liability insurance nor mental health evaluations. That's a direct shot at New York and California. Like, just period. I don't even think this is mental health examination is not a requirement in New Jersey. I believe the liability insurance is. Liability insurance is required for these things because they know it'll price out certain communities. And yes, I just made a racist statement and I'm going to stand by it. It is intended solely so that blacks cannot get a concealed carry permit. It is fucking engineered that way. That's not going to fly with me. Mental health evaluations, I'm twice as mad about that one because you can rig a mental health evaluation any way you want. Even if you take one that has been peer reviewed, peer constructed, and it is absolutely, there is no way that you can read into it what you want. It still has to go to the person who gauges the evaluation, who reads into it what they want at the end of the day. It's as simple as that. So no, that's not going to work. The states are not obligated to issue concealed carry permits from residents of another state, nor are forbidden to do so. All right. You don't have to do it. I live in Nevada. I go to California a lot. California would not be obligated to give me a concealed carry permit just because I have one back in Nevada. But if they chose to make money off of this, or if they chose to set you up so that you could later say, yes, actually, I do know California's law. I did this, I did that, I did the other thing exactly as required, and I can prove it because I have a California concealed carry permit. Well, there you go. California, I can see would only do it for the cash. Nevada, I could see would actually only do it for the cash. Arizona might actually do it so that you could basically for $5 you get the permit and you pass the test. There is a state I was living in for a while where the course and the test is actually harder than the money. You can panhandle for more money than that. And in my case, it would have been free because of my DD 214. Ooh. So it's clearly not about the money there. Okay, concealed carry permit processing may not take longer than 7 working days. I'm big about that 7 working days thing. Any concealed carry permit applications not completed in said time frame shall be conditionally approved. I'm also big about the conditional approval. Any concealed carry application not completed within 30 working days of that shall be unconditionally approved. I'm also very, very big about that 30-day thing. This is the case out of New York where New York Police Department specifically, they had the concealed carry permit application in their hands. Attached to it was a copy of the domestic violence restraining order against the ex-husband, the divorce decree, and like 2 other things related to the fact that this woman believed that her husband was going to fucking kill her if he caught her anywhere. They let it sit on their desk. What was a year later? It was still sitting in somebody's to be ignored. This is interrupting my coffee break file. Yeah, I just said that. New York Police Department. You let it sit in your inbox because it was interrupting your coffee break. A year later, I'm sorry, excuse me. It was 6 months later, he killed her. And her application was still sitting on that desk. Love you, Susan. So anything not processed within 7 days will be conditionally approved. Conditionally means you have between the 8th day and the 30th day to process it, realize that a mistake was made, and take whatever action needs to be taken. After 30 days, unconditionally approved. That means, nope, fuck you, New York Police Department. You let it sit on somebody's desk for 30 days. You did nothing. You're shit out of luck. You get to go clean up the mess later. You cannot refuse the permit, and you can't take the gun back, and you can't do shit because you let it sit on somebody's desk for 30 days. Time restrictions for unconditional approval may be suspended during a state of emergency upon declaration by a governor or the president for not more than 30 days unless renewed by the legislatures or Congress, and then for the duration of the crisis, during which time the conditional approval shall stay in effect. Okay. I apply for a concealed carry permit right now. Yeah, right this second. This is 2 June 2022. Okay. On, well, let's say Saturday, tornadoes ripped through Nevada and just absolutely fucking devastate the entire state. Not just my county, right? The entire state. Maybe my county's fine. Starting on Sunday, when the governor of Nevada finally decides to get up off his lazy piece of shit ass and declare a state of emergency, my unconditional clock has stopped. I can continue to carry for up to 30 days unless the state legislature or Congress, United States Congress, concurs. Yeah, there's still a state of emergency. You might remember this from PPE. every time you hit those cutoff dates, they have to reapprove. In this case, it's for 30 days. They have to reaffirm that yes, a continuous state of emergency exists in Nevada for the entire, or so much of the majority of the state that it doesn't matter. My clock does not stop. My conditional clock does not stop until they finally say, yeah, no, the crisis is over. As far as the state of Nevada is concerned, 2 days have passed. They get 28 more days. Any item covered in this act is protected in all other considerations and may be transported across state lines without other restrictions in the control of the registered owner. Okay, this is a kind of a weird one. Right now, legally, to transport your firearms across state lines, you have to go into an FFL, have it shipped to an FFL in your destination state, go to your destination state, retrieve your weapon with a background check, and then go on about your business. Nobody obeys this law, where it's so rare that it's essentially non-existent, right? I've done it. I crossed, oh Jesus Christ, 8 state borders, 6. Although one, it was the same state. I went back across the same border like an hour or so later. Right. I had that one. I had my Glock. And I actually had my Smith & Wesson with me at the time. That was technically illegal. Yeah. And during that trip, I also attended a gun-free event. So there you go. That will not be the law anymore. The weapons are registered in my name. Okay, they really are mine. I could cross those state borders as much as I wanted, as long as I keep them with me. Okay, I'm going to catch up on the chat because I know I'm behind. Alrighty, let's get this expanded. Oh, good. I'm not quite as far behind as I thought I was. So you can see my smiling face. Okay. Okay, Ozzy's talking about Red Dwarf. It's probably the reference to the time traveler saying, Ozzy, would you go so far as to allow tactical nuke ownership if they have the funds? No. Explosives are restricted. Private ownership, since shall not infringe, seems clear. Well, it's not as clear as all that, because it doesn't say shall not be infringed anymore. It says shall be enforced. New York will arrest you if you fly into the state with a weapon. That's true. New York will also arrest you if you fly out of the state with a weapon following federal law. Don't believe me. I don't give a fuck. John Stossel did an expose on this. And the woman was given 2 choices. Either she give up her gun or she go to jail for 30 days in New York City on her way home while she was following federal law. What? New York's state law and U.S. federal law were exactly and completely contradictory, and that's one of the reasons why this is needed. We take all of those confusions out because you have 50 different sets of laws. You have to obey all of them at the same time. Actually, you have 51 sets of laws, and that's not counting the Guam, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. I forgot the other 5. Might have their own laws. Oh, excuse me. And also then you have federal reservations where wholly different rules apply, like military bases. No, this is not going to work anymore. One set of fucking rules. That's it. That's enough. Oh, okay. I recognize the fact that I do got to include a clause for air, train, and ship travel. Ironically enough, no, buses are not in that list because buses stop regularly. You have to get off. The driver does not have the time to dig everybody's bag out. The driver does not have time to give everybody their guns back. That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. I'm not even sure if trains are going to fall under that list with that in mind. Okay. Ozzy points out that gun control advocates, they talk the talk. They will never, ever walk the walk. I should literally know, guys. Remember, where did I start? Gun control supporter. Oh. Right. Micro rant to cover about a 10-minute slot. If you think back to definitions, you know that an assault weapon is what you know. I have a definition for assault weapon. The states, as it stands now, are at their discretion to write whatever they want. Okay. It's like 15 years ago, 2014 or 15, I wrote a definition for assault weapon that would cover a muzzle loader. I remember there's some sort of time. Oh, I talked about this earlier, about there being having to shortcut a few problems with the time restriction. The current state definitions for the states that have it is semi-automatic. Okay. And I rant that I can write that definition any way I want. Here's an interesting detail. I could write it so that, or I can interpret it so that the Papa Carry and me, our Navy Colt revolvers, are assault weapons. One squeeze of the trigger results in one discharge of the firearm. Now, I've never actually gotten my gun out of the box, and I've been a long time since I even touched Dad's. My understanding is these are single action only. Oh, okay. But if they were built as a double action revolver, because the magazine is removable, it's called a cylinder in a revolver, but it's still a magazine. Spurg out on me here. I don't care. That would be an assault weapon. Oh no, Kerry just put it out there. See, he said the quiet part out loud. See, gun control supporters do not want you to know that that is a specific purpose. They want you fat, dumb, and happy and thinking that Grampy's musket, Civil War musket's fine, flintlock musket's fine. No, they're writing it so that eventually they can expand it in interpretation to everything. Oh, my condolences, Ozzy. And guys, I know you think I'm crazy, but I was on the other side of this story. I do know the direction they're going. The cake analogy by lawdog.blog, blogspot, something like that. I should dig it up. It's true. It's absolutely true. And if they can't get a compromise for a new ban, they'll expand the definition of the old ban to include something new. Detachable magazine. Define detachable magazine. Oh shit, I just opened up a can of worms, didn't I? Most of y'all don't realize every magazine on every gun is removable at some point. The SKS is described as a fixed magazine, but it can be removed, and it can be removed without using tools. I know because when I was, high school at most, and I would field strip Dad's SKS because I didn't know how the buttons actually, why the buttons were set up the way they were. I thought I was supposed to do it with my fingers. So I would use my finger to push in the button to remove the trigger group, which moves the tab out of the way that allows you to remove the magazine. So it is now a detachable magazine. Oh. Yeah, Bernie points out all modern firearms will fall under illegal firearms by default. Bernie's very optimistic, obviously. I know better. They will eventually go to the point that even Grampy's musket, his fucking muzzle load musket, is covered. And I want to say that my act of self-flagellation, I wrote it so that 2 or more discharges within 1 minute. I want to say that was it. All right. I forgot something, and it's kind of important, is get home bag. And I really don't go here. I leave people like Ghost or somebody else who actually kind of does know this material 1,000% better than I do. That's the truth. To cover it, get home bag, that is not actually my get home bag anymore. That is my bug out bag at this point. There comes a point where you do have to consider, can I even stay here anymore? And that is not a 1-1 equation. The danger might be so close that it's undeniable. And you can't bug out because it's that close. You can't get out. On the other hand, the danger may be far, far away, right? So you think we're still safe. Now was the time to leave. You didn't realize that it's rolling towards you. You have to, and this is a judgment call you're going to have to make yourself. Your crisis has occurred. Okay, fine. You made it home. Okay, fine. You did all the things you needed to do to make yourself as safe as possible under the circumstances. Great, good for you. When does it come time to leave? You have to measure how close is the danger, how probable is the danger to get to me, and how probable is my chances of getting out of here. I can't give you a mathematical formula here, but I can say that if Antifa is setting fire to vehicles on your or vehicles, especially police vehicles on your street, you need to leave now. Sneak out the back as best as you can. Might be too late to do that. All right, and I'm just that's the truth. It might be too late. Or and I do want to focus more on the natural disaster side of the equation. Going back to the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. All right, this is the one that struck San Francisco in the middle of Game 7 of the A's Giants World Series. Okay. The time when I wasn't psychic, I just felt something weird because I subconsciously felt the earthquake as far away as fuck was I anyway. You know, I want to say Eureka, California. That's a long ways away, guys. The earthquake caused natural gas lines underground to sever. Those leaks turned into a major fire that burned down something like a little less than a quarter of the city, basically, or threatened a little less than a quarter of the city, right? That entire northeast quarter of the city was seriously in danger of burning until one fire captain said, yeah, fuck the rules. I'm doing it anyway. What are they going to do? Throw me in prison? Went down to a park, grabbed everybody who was not physically incapable of walking, said, you are all firefighters now. Right? Very aggressive and very commendable response to the crisis. As that fire started to spread, it was time to be gone already. Few considerations. If the violence isn't here right now, and you have a reason to believe it's coming this direction, whether it's human violence or natural violence, you can't shoot at Mother Nature. That doesn't work, but you can respond to Mother Nature acting against you. It's time to leave as soon as you can, and understand that as you are leaving, you're going to be fighting your way, potentially fighting your way out. Right? It's long been predicted that a huge magnitude 7 earthquake is going to hit the oh god damn it, the name of that fault line, is it Loma Prieta? Anyway, it's the entire California fault line. As actually, I think it's 3, so that's kind of moot. Is going to hit that fault line and cause a magnitude 7 earthquake. You need to be not in the way of that earthquake if you can. You can't if you're living there now. It's short of dropping everything and moving out of state. That's not going to happen. Once the earthquake is over and you know you are safe, go home as best as you can, get what you can, and leave right away. That is the best course of option. There's actually, for those of you that live in Los Angeles, especially, there's an unfinished freeway that was supposed to be an evacuation route back in the era of a real threat of nuclear annihilation from Russia. Well, I said it was unfinished. There's no water along this route anywhere. So take lots of water. But you could actually walk up what's left of that road, and I think it goes to Bakersfield. It's a hard march. But once you get across that mountain, you're on your way into Bakersfield. Just something to think about. Okay. Yeah, Ozzy, I agree. Well, people like me are pushing back. The difference between the people who should be and the people who are is that the people who should be are supposed to be elected. And some of them are. Okay, that's true. Also, nobody in an elected office will even hear me out. I came close back in 2019. I got one elected official to accept a copy of Daetslov as it existed at the time. Ozzy's pointing out something else. If I had health, okay, there is that, and money to leave last fall. I don't know why last fall in particular, but I would have. I hear a lot of people say, if you live in a gun unfriendly state, it's time to leave. It's harsh, but hard decisions have to be made. I can only jump on them so hard because I've said similar things in the past. To the people I said that to, I apologize because I know leaving one state and going to another is a realistic impossibility for a lot of people. Almost everybody. Going forward, if you're going to say that, you put up your guest room and then you can say it. I have a guest room available for anybody that wants to evacuate New York, New Jersey, California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii. Ooh, I brought that one up. All right. Wherever. I don't care where you're coming from. I used to have something, a Facebook page saying evacuate California. Right? I've shut that page down because I had one volunteer host in 4 years. And strangely enough, nobody volunteered and nobody asked for help. I want to leave California for Texas, Oregon, Texas, Florida, Colorado, wherever. Nobody asked, and I had only one person say, I will put you up. In 4 years, I had one volunteer host. Oh, it's a pretty good experiment then, isn't it? Right? Don't put your money where you aren't willing to put your own mouth. Okay, Bernie is asking something. By the way, do you believe what a certain person was saying in a chat you were in, that anyone who believes our Second Amendment rights won't be taken away by this administration is a fear monger? Okay, Bernie, I'm not sure which chat I'm not even sure which channel you're referring to, because apparently this was the speaker to whom Bernie refers to's own channel, and I seriously doubt I was in that chat. And even if I was, no. If I was there, I was probably trying to start shit with him. Hey, motherfucker, you lie your feet stinking, Jesus hates your ass. Now, let me in, and we can fight about it. Oh. Oh. Bernie, there's a uh, um, pinned comment at the top of the channel. Come in after the stream. I want to talk to you. I really want to talk to you. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and kill that off for the time being. I think we need to talk. Maybe there's something else here that I'm not understanding fully, and I want to understand absolutely fully. And let me put this the way it really is. Is Joe Biden capable of repealing the Second Amendment? No. No, he is not. He has tried twice now. He's tried twice, and Barack tried at least once, I think twice. Barack tried to curtail it. He will curtail it. Joe will do everything he can to curtail it as far as he can. I don't want to speak it into being by saying it publicly, but I can envision a scenario in which he does something that is very, very restrictive, very, very damaging to the Second Amendment. Sorry, guys. Okay, good. Something was cropping up on my something was cropping up on my chat that I was seeing that I thought there was somebody backstage, to put it simply. He's going to try something that will be very damaging, and we've got to be ready and to fight that, because it's going to be a long, hard fight. He will use the people's money. He's not going to use his money. That's not his money. He's going to use the people's money to drag this thing out, at least until he's ready to leave office the first time, so that his anointed successor can say, we're fighting this battle for the American people, so that people can go grocery shopping in peace. Meanwhile, it's a little bit mind-blowing. The fuck is Trader Joe's has a company policy that says no firearms in our stores. A man walked into a Trader Joe's open carrying, asked people just random questions about where's this, where's that, where's something else. Didn't have a single problem. Never touched his gun. It was there, but he never touched it. Didn't hurt anybody. I'm just saying. Kamala, you're lying through your teeth already. She hasn't even said it yet, and I'm already going to call it out. She's lying. Okay. Bernie, no, that was not Joe. I'm sorry, that was not Joe. He's going to try. He's already trying to set the framework on to the earlier rant. I already don't believe the monkeypox story. I don't believe it at all. Why? Because the same people who were supposed to tell us the truth about Corona lied to us every fucking day. And they may have lied to us about more than we thought. More than we started to suspect in August of 2020. And we knew about in August of 2021. And we're going to learn more about this August, Bernie, Joe was not in office when Corona hit. Donnie was in office when Corona hit. And to that, Donnie's not a medical doctor. He's a businessman, right? He was turning to his experts and saying, what's going on here? What do I need to do? How do I need to do it? And we're starting to see that a lot of what his experts were telling him was not true. They knew it wasn't true, and they were saying it anyway. Oh. And hi, Apple. Never mind the blindfold. Just give me the cigarette. Rand Paul and Anthony Fauci went at it for something like 20 minutes over this question. Rand Paul flat out accused Anthony Fauci of lying, and guess what? Documentation says, yeah, Tony was lying about some shit, some very serious shit. The people that we depend on to tell us the truth so we can make real decisions that affect people and ourselves lied to us. How the fuck are we ever going to trust you or your buddies ever again? Ozzy, I lost the book that you mentioned. Unless it's the objectively better behaviors book. I got that. I haven't opened it. I'm not going to open it until I know I'm ready to fully address it. Because I don't want it to sit there marked as read, having not been read. So yeah, I know it. I know that one's there. Okay. That's not good either. All right, we're coming up on, well, about 5 minutes left. Guys, there is a afternoon stream today for the Q&A. I love questions. As long as they're on topic. Squatch and Ozzy, I'm talking about you too. I know what you're thinking. I'm going to wag my finger at you naughty little boys. Yeah, okay, Ozzy, I do know the one you're talking about. It's there. It's unread, so I don't accidentally lose it. And I will look into it when I have a couple hours. I promise. I do hope you checked out that letter that I sent to you. Whatever else you may believe, tax records exist. Troll being not much of a troll, sitting quietly, finally spoke up again. I'm not believing any of those fools. And you know what? That's part of the problem. Troll here is exactly exemplifying what the exact problem is. We've been lied to for so long, we can't believe anybody. Right? The shepherd boy cried wolf so many times that half the fucking village started crying wolf with him. Because now they're seeing wolves fucking everywhere. This is kind of the dynamic, right? The shepherd boy cried wolf one too many times. Nobody came. The third time. the flock was destroyed. Now everybody's seeing wolves everywhere. And when the rest of the village goes to check out this wolf report, there's no wolf. Again, there's no wolf. Everybody's now completely on edge and panicked about everything. And we can't figure out what the truth is anymore. We've been gaslit so hard that we can't even see the light anymore. I know a couple of people who might be ready to meet you there at the airport. All right. Bernie says, remember the media was all over putting Trump on a wooden cross. Well, they were going to nail his neck to that cross if they could. Biden gets in and 6th January happens. A bunch of crazy dissenters all coordinated to keep the public in their home. Well, I remember hearing about 6th January before it started and thinking, okay, that's Antifa's cue to show up. I was not disappointed. Okay, yes, there will be an afternoon Q&A stream, guys. Please bring the on-topic questions. I love the questions. And ask the hard ones. I'm not afraid. Alpine Gulch broke me a few weeks ago. She asked a question I just simply couldn't answer. Hi, Sam. Don't accept anything. I don't care who you got it from. I don't care how you got it until you know it's absolutely true. At this point, that's where we have to go back to. Right? Because too many people have lied to us about too many things for too long. And we can't even see the light. Okay. I think that 9/10 is a lot on the high side there, Ozzy. The goal was 50%. I said that early in the pandemic, and I'm saying it now. COVID, by rights, should have wiped half the human population off the face of the earth. We did things we needed to do when we had a chance to do it, and that's the only thing that stopped it from getting that far out of control. That's based on a historic series of historic precedents, most especially the Black Plague, something we didn't know how to handle that exploded into humanity and spread at the rate that within, I think it was 20 years, 100% of the population of Europe was either dead or recovered. And it all started with one battle. Literally a siege of some city, I forgot where. All right. It is time, guys. 1, Iran created the coronavirus and framed China. 2, Niner 17 is still coming. 3, keep calm and mandatory carry on.